Right, welcome to the Scout Podcast. Today we have Heidi Ellsworth from Roofer's Coffee Shop. Welcome, Heidi.
Hello, Josh. It's so good to see you and be here. This is really
So
exciting.
good to have you. Yeah, welcome. We've got Cole here, my co-host, and we're so excited to chat with Heidi a bit today. And we are featuring one of her wonderful mugs and some coffee, which smells amazing back here. We'll get into some questions and just tell us about your path and what you do in the roofing industry.
Okay, well, first of all, I have to say good morning, Cole. I just said good morning to Josh.
Oh, yes. Hello. Good morning, Heidi. How are you?
It's so good to see you.
Yeah, of
And I just
course.
love your guys. I love the studio. This is my little studio. This is it. Look at what you guys have done. That is pretty amazing. I love it. It is great. So, well, my name is Heidi Ellsworth, and I am the owner and president of Roofer's Coffee Shop, which also has Metal Coffee Shop, Coatings Coffee Shop, and Ask a Roofer. We are a multimedia platform for the trades with websites, podcasts, webinars, social media, email, panel discussions, live thought provoking leadership panels, everything you need for the contractors out there and for the industries around roofing, around metal, construction, and around coatings. And who knows what next, Josh? You never know around the coffee shops. We love our contractors out there.
Heidi's really the OG of like the roofing world to me and us. And I was telling Cole today, I was looking back on the first LinkedIn message that I ever sent you, like right before we got kind of connected early this year. And I was telling you about how my dad is the one that told me about Roofer's Coffee Shop back in 2012-ish. And he used it to hire people and the classifieds. And I was like, oh, really? And it was such a unique name. I wanted you to kind of tell the story that you told Cole and I at the WRE kind of about the idea behind the coffee shop name, just because I thought that was great.
Yeah, I just love that your dad was on the coffee shop and used the classifieds because they're still there
And he
and
was
still
not a
really active.
technical person at
Not at
all
all.
then. I mean,
Yeah.
he had an old Dell computer and he moved from the West Coast out to Florida. He got his job and found it on Roofer's Coffee Shop Classified. That's 100% real story.
That is so cool. I love that story.
Yeah, so it's kind of neat to be connected in that way.
It is. And, we have talked to so many contractors who were around when the coffee shop first started in 2002 and, and then through the 2000s who used it. A lot of them didn't even have computers on their desk. Maybe their front office had a computer and they all shared it. So, it's really fun, Josh, and you got to meet her, my business partner, and actually the lady who started all of this, Vicky Sharples. And before the Roofer's Coffee Shop was a newspaper in the roofing industry called Roofers Exchange. And Roofers Exchange was everywhere. Vicky started it in the late 1980s because she walked into a distributor's office, saw a bulletin board, and in her mind thought, I bet I could take everything on that bulletin board and put it in a newspaper and distribute it out to people. And then they would be able to see what's going on instead of always having to walk in to see the bulletin board. And she did. And pretty soon she had information from bulletin boards all over the United States. The newspaper was on every counter, every distributor's counters throughout the United States. And it was just, she's such a visionary. She really
Industrious
is.
too. Yeah, and she's so sweet. She immediately, within 5 minutes chatting with her, she's like, here's my, badge if you need anything. Just like the kindest, sweetest person. Cole and I walked away and like, man, she was wonderful. So yeah,
I know.
So
I was
shout
like,
out to you.
Vicky, you have to meet Josh and Cole. Cole and Josh, you have to meet Vicky. I mean, it was just a have to because, and then you guys talk so much throughout the Western states.
Is she going to be at the
but
IRE
the thing that
this
was
year?
great. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Very cool.
yes.
Oh wait, maybe. Well, I'm going to say, oh yeah, but you never know with Vicky. It is in San Antonio. So hopefully she, is the executive director of the Southern Cal Roofers Contractors Association. So she goes to a lot of different events. And then she's pretty much retired from the coffee shops and just lets me kind of do whatever I want. So that's kind of fun.
That's great. Yeah.
And she's awesome. So, it's really a fun story because talking about visionary and really, Josh, Cole, what you guys are doing with Roof Scout is so visionary. And it takes, I think, special people to see long-term where things are going. And Vicky was definitely one of those folks. And so in the late 90s, I worked for Larkey Roofing at the time. And so I was advertising in Roofers Exchange, became really good friends with Vicky. And um, in about 1998 started my own ad agency, HJE Marketing. And so I started doing I had companies like Polyglass, Interstate Roofing, Jorvie Roofing, Madsen Roofing, Decra, and I did work for Vicky, also for Roofers Exchange. And she came to me and she said, she says, Print's gonna die. Print's just gonna die. And she says, and this is in 2000. This is in 2000. She goes, Print's gonna die. We got to get on the internet. I need to get Roofers Exchange onto the internet. And I was like, okay, cool. And she goes, would you help me with your ad agency, putting all this together and
I can picture
launching
her
it for us? And
too,
I said,
like all through that. I can just like, now that I've met her, I can picture her being like, we got to get this over. And
We survived Y2K. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Y2K.
Yeah,
We're here. Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Exactly. So, but she really wanted a different name, and she really needed a different name out there, and for a lot of reasons. But
I remember
she,
that story.
yeah, yeah. We'll keep that one for
Keep
another
that
day.
for another
But
pocket. Yeah.
so she came to me and she says, I just need I need to do something different. I said, give me a couple days. I need to kind of think about this. And my dad, like your dad, like your guys' dad, was a general contractor. So I grew up in the trades. I was working on the job sites. He had a big igniting truck. He did concrete all over Eastern Oregon. And whenever he would go to another town, like, Burns, Baker, all these places,
Mhm.
Boise,
Yep.
with his big igniting truck, his big concrete truck, he would stop at the coffee shop with all the trucks out in front of it, because he knew he could go in there and he could find out about where to buy the best products, where to get obviously you want breakfast and a cup of coffee, but day labor, whatever he might need, he knew that would be the place to network. And I thought about that, and I thought, that for contractors who don't even have a computer on their desk right now, they need a place they feel comfortable, where they can feel like they have a place to come to network, to get information, to do their research online, that feels like what they're doing right now. And that's where Roofer's Coffee Shop came
That's
from.
so cool.
I called her and I said, I've got an idea. Let's call it the coffee shop. So Roofer's Coffee Shop grew from that. And so 2002, we launched it. It was pretty exciting. And Vicky grew it and grew it. I actually went on to do, funny story. My company was actually purchased. My ad agency was purchased by a small company called EcoStar. So some people out there may know who EcoStar was, or it still is. And then EcoStar and my ad agency were purchased by Carlisle. And
Wow. I
so at
didn't know
that
that
point,
part.
I then went
So
on.
that's how the link
Yeah,
formed with
it was.
that. Did you work with Carlisle like after that? It was kind
I
of,
did.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were the first big commercial brand that went through, sent us to Texas, did all the training. Actually, shout out to Ryan Sackville. He's who got me introduced to Carlisle and went through that whole process. We used it on tons of projects, and yeah, they were all fantastic. Great
Great product.
company. Yeah.
Josh, I sold CCW whip, and by the truckload, and went for the Western states. So who knows? I probably went through Boise with your, or Lapine with your family. And, yeah, so I ran marketing communications for Carlisle Syntec for a number of years. And, they actually, just real quick, I know we have so much to cover, but real quick, it was really interesting. I got to do a huge shout out to John Altmeyer, who was the president of Carlisle at the time. He actually my family and I moved to Carlisle. He saw, this ad agency that I had, marketing agency, that was all for roofing. So we had roofing contractors, distributors, manufacturers. And so he said, keep running it as a division of Carlisle. Very few people know this. We ran it as a division of Carlisle for probably, I think, 3 or 4 years. And I had all these other customers. Plus, we ran we did marketing communications for all the Carlisle brands. So Hunter, when Insofoam came in, Versico, Carlisle Syntec. And so, yeah, we did that for a number of years. And it was really cool. It was no one was doing it. And so Yeah, at all. But then times change, and to be 100% honest, I really wanted to get into sales. So once, a lot of times, and to be honest, I know we're going to talk about women in the industry too, but as a woman, you tend to get, and men, I think too, get pigeonholed right into a certain spot. So I'd been doing marketing my whole career, and I really wanted to do sales. So I made a vertical move kind of across. They were making some changes in the Carlisle Creative Services. We weren't going to be doing as much. The HJE brand was kind of going away, and it was just services for internal Carlisle. And so I became a Western States regional manager for WIP and for EcoStar. So really talk about going feet first in, and that was absolutely one of the greatest experiences I had learning sales.
You made a lot of leaps and bounds over the years. Sure, some of it was nerve-wracking, but what kind of was going through your mind through each step? Did your mindset ever change with each leap and bound? Kind of what went on there?
Wow, what a great question. You know, and I was just talking to Alex, who you guys know. We all work. She works with us. I was just talking to Alex about this yesterday. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I was working for Malarkey, and Malarkey is just such a great product. And I was working there, and I just, James had already been born, and I was pregnant with Megan, and I was just like, I just feel like I can do my own thing. I feel like I can do this agency. I can help contractors. Watching my dad, and contractors just don't get a chance to tell their story. And that's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to help contractors with their marketing, tell their story, get it out into national pubs. And so Cole, really, sometimes I don't know if I knew what I knew. So I'll give you a perfect example. So I was, 34, started HJE marketing, told Tim, I said, okay, look, the kids can stay home with me. We'll save this much money on daycare. You can, we'll use your health care. I've already got a customer. We can do this. Right. And just did it. 30 or 20 years later, after I left Eagleview and I started HJE consulting and came into Roofer's Coffee Shop, I was like, wow, if I knew then what I know now, I would have been a lot more scared.
So true.
But sometimes you just don't know, right? You just do it. And those opportunities come up. I mean, I think another defining moment in my career was when we moved to Carlisle. I mean, we are native Oregonians. My husband and I lived here all of our lives, and we packed up two little kids and moved to Carlisle or Pennsylvania. When we registered from school, I didn't even have an emergency contact. I had to use my boss's I called my boss and said, "Will you and your wife be emergency contacts for us here, for our kids?" And again, it was just one of those things that we were like, if we don't try this, if we don't go for it, when are we ever going to be able to see what it's like living on the East Coast? When are we ever going to be able to have these opportunities? And sometimes it's also like you have the opportunity of taking this move and transfer, or you have the opportunity of looking for a different job,
Yeah.
which is also part of it. uh, so yeah, but going into Roofer's Coffee Shop, I think was probably one of the easiest transition. Going into Eagleview, fun. That was exciting. Again, didn't know what I didn't know. Right, going into the tech space.
Starting and intersecting right at that 2012 mark. I had told you about that before, where that was
Yeah.
just starting to be a thing, and the industry was not against it, but the people that weren't using it were kind of like, oh, we hand measure your roof and we don't use, this or that. But I mean, the very first big project I sold, I was telling Jimmy about at the Bogus Space and Condos, I measured it all with Eagleview because why not? They were gable to gable 4 and 12s, right? Versus driving like 45 minutes up there, and won the job. And that was one of the, 2 or 3 top reasons they were like, we love the aerial measurement reports. So yeah, I'm excited to hear about the experience through Eagleview because it's wild what they've done in the last 15 plus years.
Yeah, it is. Well, and I have to say, you were probably a little bit unique because most of the contractors I talked to were like, "Come back and talk to me in 10 years, Heidi." By that point, yeah, I knew a lot of contractors and I had a lot of friends in the industry. when I started with Eagle View, and I was like, "Oh yeah, no problem." And I was doing marketing at first. It was just marketing, and I would go in and talk to some of the contractors about what I was doing, and they were like, "You're nuts," you know. But I've had that a couple times in my career, where good friends of mine, like when I went to Rufus Coffee Shop, like, "What are you doing? Why are you
That's
doing
so
this?"
comforting
But
to hear
there's
though,
always,
because there's other people and
yeah,
viewers like I read in whether it's Reddit or, whatever tech forums and people sharing about their startup journey. Like I had this nervous ball of energy and something just said leap, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so funny to
yeah,
hear that same
that's it.
tale over and over. I think it's just that you have that explorer spirit like I do and that entrepreneurial, you want to learn what you don't
Yep.
know yet. And there's like a deep hunger for getting that knowledge and experience. And I think that's just something maybe you're born with. I don't know.
I think so, because I think if you have that entrepreneurial feel, and I knew I did, but it you can feed it a lot with startups. Startups are fun to feed that feeling because they need everybody to have that spirit when you're starting up and to really go after it. And with Eagle View, within 6 months, I was promoted into in charge of sales and marketing for the construction side of it. So we had two sides, insurance and construction. And I mean, so much fun. But they give me a list of contractors. I don't even know any of these contractors on their list. I don't even know where they got this list. And it ended up being really restoration or storm contractors. And they were the early adopters of Eagle View. I have some great friends within that industry, and they were the early adopters. And then it was the younger people who were adopting it, going, "Hey, this really makes sense." And then pretty soon, as you know, we started to be able to build all the value into it. But those first couple years, learning the technology side of it, which is really for all the tech people out there, when you come from roofing, we're not we're not big on technology, or we weren't. Now we are.
See,
It's crazy to think that just 8, maybe 10 years ago, every homeowner, you'd sit down, hey, yeah, we don't have to measure your roof. Eagle View's a
mm-hmm.
great service. And they pull the card of, oh, well, another contractor said, it's more trustworthy to hand measure.
Yep.
And it was almost like people had a distaste for aerial measurement.
They really
Now
did.
it's like, you're gonna hand measure my roof?
Why would you get on
Why
it?
would you do that? Isn't that a fall risk? And you're
Uh,
like, don't forget I'm a roofer,
Yeah,
So
that's a
just
good point.
seeing that huge culture shift, just even with homeowners, everybody's kind of just, hey, construction is kind of grabbing that technology, and we're finally able to utilize it.
Mm-hmm. And people would be like, "And where's my measurement report?" I'm like,
Yeah,
"What?
exactly.
Your measurement
I
report?"
know.
You want to know your ridge and valley measurements?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah. It's so, and we were like, show people the picture of their house. It's so cool. People will be totally, show this report. We actually had to go in and, and that's where my marketing came in. We actually went in and showed people how to use Eagle View to market their business, how to use it within the sales call, how to talk
That's
some of
cool.
those objections that you heard, and so that was a really fun part. Karen Edwards and I hired Karen within 6 months, to work at Eagle View with me, and she, yeah. So Karen worked with me at Carlisle and then Eagle View and now Rivers Coffee Shop. So we stick pretty close. Yeah. She said, I got to tell you one funny story. It's just, I don't know. This just came to my mind. I just got looking at Scout behind you. It's so funny. So we talked about Vicky. Vicky sent out the very first fax for Eagle View. So before I ever joined Eagle View, they hired Vicky and Roofers Coffee Shop to launch them. So Roofers Coffee Shop launched Eagle View with Vicky. She sent out the very first it was a fax that went out, and then an email, and it it blew. They couldn't keep up with the demand that first day. The first day they went out, they had three people drawing. They couldn't keep up with it. So many people came in, and so Vicky was very, very involved, and she's actually the one who said you guys should hire Heidi. And so I was, that's how I got involved. And I went from Carlisle to Eagle View, and but one of the fun things that Vicky did that I think was before their time, I don't think anybody really got it, but I still to this day I have it, and I think it was so fun and so funny, is she actually did an animated cartoon for me of a tape measure. It was an animated tape measure, and then she had an animated hammer, and they were talking about how bad this new technology was, and how they're gonna lose their jobs, and they were gonna be out of it, and the contractors were gonna leave them, and it was just so terrible. Oh my god, I thought it was the funniest campaign
Wait, do you have it
ever. I thought
still?
it was so fun. I'd have to go back and look and
We
find
should
it, but I
totally try
should,
to
because
find that
it
if we can.
was, if
That would
I
be
should try to
awesome.
find it.
That would be great to
It
clip.
was
Hmm.
so much fun, I have to tell you. Yeah, Vicky, she might even have it. I could ask her. She's so clever.
You guys linked up, and then how did RT3 and like Roofers Technology, like how did that end up materializing?
Yeah, so many stories today.
I love the stories. This is all
So
I care about is the stories. We love the stories.
stories.
Yeah.
That is great. So it was 2015, and in 2015, I Eagle View sold, went to their first private equity, and I was at a point where Megan Ellsworth, our youngest, was a senior in high school. And I just, I'm just going to be 100% honest. I was like, do I really want to work for private equity? Is this really what I want to do? Because I'm a startup gal, right? I'm not a reporting kind of person. And
You're creative.
so
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I was just like, this just isn't what I want to do. Well, Vicky called because she knew Vicky was also part of, the stocks and the buyout and everything. And so it
And
was all
where's
good for
Vicky
all of
at
us.
this point? Is she
And
still in Southern Cal?
she has Roofer's Coffee Shop in Southern Cal, but Roofer's Coffee Shop had really been hit hard during the recession, really hit hard. And Vicky was very close to closing it down.
Like in the
And she
'08
was so
financial, correct? Like,
20, yeah, in the
okay.
'08. And so this is 2015. I know, but '08 just hit it hard and just like never came back. And so she called me and she says, "Hey, what are you going to do?" And I said, "I don't know. I said I think I'm going to start my own thing again. I think I'm going to do HJE consulting and do some consulting." And she was like, "Okay, don't talk to anybody else." She goes, I need to talk to you." And I was like, "Okay." And so during that time I started HJE consulting, and then I did consulting for NRCA. So I was doing a lot with NRCA, consulting with the Roofing Alliance, consulting with National Roofing Partners. So it was going well. It was really great. And Vicky, but she said, "I want you to come be my partner with Roofers Coffee Shop." And I was like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah, I want you to be my partner. And I want to totally do a turnaround. I want to do a full turnaround." So for me, that's like a startup, right? That's like, okay, you got a great brand and now you get to do all this great new different stuff, looking at it from a totally different perspective. And so that's what we did. And during that exact same time, this is kind of come around to your question, but during that exact same time, I had in 2014 been a founder of starting National Women in Roofing. So I was very passionate about National Women in Roofing. So at the very end of Eagle View, before they sold, I had been working, and Eagle View was very supportive, had been working with a couple other ladies to start National Women in Roofing. And so we launched National Women in Roofing, the first meeting in 2014, and I became the national chair. And so 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018 were just all about starting, relaunching Roofers Coffee Shop, launching and promoting and pushing National Women in Roofing out there, and then still running my consulting business. So
Wow.
really, kind of as Josh, you and I've talked about, trying to do too much, but such an exciting, fun
That's kind
time.
of our
Hmm.
brand
So much
in general,
fun.
though.
Yeah. So we had that we were seeing just great success, right? National Women Roofing was just blowing up. Roofers Coffee Shop was coming back on the scene, and everybody was like, "What are you doing? What's going on?" So there was a lot of excitement
That's
around
so
that
cool.
and what we were doing. Yeah. And so at the exact same time, I was visiting with some gentlemen from Java and from National Roofing Partners. And they were like, "You know what? We really need a technology platform in this industry. Contractors just are not getting it. We need some sort of device where we can gather technology from outside the industry and bring it to the roofing contractor so that they can incorporate it into their business, start building their tech stacks. This is before people even use the term tech stacks in roofing. And I was like, you know, like a think tank, right?
Yep.
Like a think tank. We could bring people into this think tank and we can get all this information, we can learn, we can all educate ourselves, and then we can share this out, communicate it out to the industry. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. So that's how it started. And it was 2017.
Wow.
I started making some phone calls to people, thought leaders in the industry who I knew, and we pulled our first meeting together. It was in Chicago, and it was great. And everybody was like, yeah, this is awesome.
Instant
and
hit.
then I'm sitting there. I know, it was so cool. And so even to this day, right, we do live meetups twice a year. We've
Had
been
the
to
virtual
Microsoft.
meetup this last week. Yeah.
Yeah, virtual meeting. So we have virtual and in person. We're going to probably go to the BMW plant. I know, and it sounds weird. Like, why are you going to the BMW plant, right, for an in-person meeting? Because we want to see what they're doing with robotics and how that can then be applied into roofing.
Are we
So
talking
we
in Berlin,
really do
Heidi?
Like in Germany?
the what?
Like in Germany?
No, it's going to be over on the East Coast.
Cole and I
Oh.
passed
I think
by
it's
the
Carolinas.
Germany plant this last summer when we were in Europe. Like drove right past the big BMW.
Yeah, I was like, wow,
Manufacturing,
Heidi,
it was wild.
That's
ambitious. She's like,
yeah.
we're going to Berlin. Let's
Right.
go.
I would like that. I would do it. I would push that. You never know. That could be next.
That is next. Yeah, let's make
Right.
that happen. Wow. Okay. So yeah, keep
Um,
taking us down this trail. I'm loving this.
Well, so it was going really well, but like I just said, I was, incredibly involved with National Women in Roofing, incredibly involved with relaunching Roofers Coffee Shop plus my own side consulting, and I was just like, there is no way I can run RT3, roofing technology think tank, because that's what we came up with. And of course, I looked to my great friend and who does things so awesome, who and was already working with me at Roofers Coffee Shop too. And I said, hey, why don't you take this on as a side gig and be the executive director of RT3?
And that's Karen.
And she said,
Mhm.
yeah. And it was Karen Edwards. She's amazing.
That's great.
I know. And so she took on, and she is still today. She's the executive director of RT3. And so yeah, we just that's been the funnest thing. I would say definitely. And Cole, kind of to your earlier question, within the last 10 to 15 years, just knowing that if we see a need, we can work on making it happen. I'm doing a lot of work right now with NRCA on Skills USA and on IFD, the global, because there's just there's so much out there that needs support and needs help, and if we don't do it, who will? So that's kind of been my philosophy.
The groups of people, at least for anything that you've touched that I've also then by proxy been in contact and built friendships and relationships with, the people that are involved are like standout amazing people.
No, I agree with you 100%, Josh. And when I think about working, with you all right now, you and Cole and Mitch and the team, and what you're doing, that's the kind of stuff that gets me really excited. It gets me excited for the next generation. It gets me excited because you're doing something that's so different, and I like bringing those things, because you have to be able to kind of look down the road and say, okay, maybe people aren't 100% ready for this right now, but they're going to be ready for it within 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and let's be the first ones out there.
Especially the last, I can't even believe 7, 8 months, Heidi's been so instrumental in so many things with us and helping us, as an advisor and tracking where we're going, what we're doing, giving such good perspective that I wouldn't see. And I think that's what makes such a good team, is having people, and Cole and I talk about this a lot, is finding each other's blind spots and just being alert to them.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I appreciate about you so much, is the perspectives that you bring and the things, everything always feels so wise, and it's not very often that happens with a calming energy that kind of settles you. You'll have people that are very creative and imaginative, but they're typically frenetic and chaotic. And that's kind of the opposite of you, which is great, because there's not many people that kind of do the things and wear as many hats as you do and make it look tremendously easy, which is really like a special thing. Our WRE trip was so great, and being able to go out, and I'll never look at any Chinese food the same again after going to that bao bun place.
You are wrecked for everything else in life. That is, and Megan, you really, the best experience going there is just going there and having Megan order everything.
We loved that. Yeah, we all were just like, go ahead.
Yeah. When she's like, I'm ordering, I was like, oh, take it away. Take the wheel.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But yeah, real visionary stuff for sure. Yeah, I'm really excited for this upcoming year. I would love for you to be able to come over, which I think we're going to be able to plan out this next summer and come and meet the community down at Trailhead and what they're doing that are coming up on their 10-year anniversary. And it's very similar to what you did with all of the platforms too. I said, let's form Trailhead, where business starts in the Treasure Valley, essentially. So then that's grown into, the massive ecosystem and all the partners. And we just went through their entire pitch startup competition. It really galvanizes like who you are and what you're doing with the product. When you really understand, like tying back into what you said with sales, just really understanding the customer. And then when you're the person that you're now building a product for, that I think is just such an honor to do, and that's kind of what I'm so excited with Roof Scout about is, when I've talked to investors and things and they're like, who's your customer? And it's me, and I think that's such a unique position to be in.
Yeah, Josh, that's really interesting. And to be 100% honest, that's a huge change. If I look over the last 30 years in the roofing industry, when I first started, and I would say there wasn't hardly anybody, there was very few tech companies when I first started 30 years ago.
Oh, I can't even
I think
imagine.
about companies like Estimating Edge is over 30 years old, and they've been, grown with the industry. But it was interesting because right around, early 2000s, contractors started starting to say, hey, I want to bring the software to market. And they didn't get a lot of respect. They really didn't. It was kind of one of those things, oh, that's a contractor technology. They don't know what they're doing. They're, blah, blah, blah. And then you saw this great success of companies like AccuLynx and Job Nimbus and just a lot of contractor-driven technologies that came out and even EagleView was really started by two roofing contractors who were out on the roof and came up with the idea and then went and found a developer to put the ideas together. And today, really the technology companies that have that contractor at the heart who really understands the industry, understands the people, understands the needs and the pain points, that has become such a differentiator and such an added, it's just the value of that is so high right now. Then, now we look at it kind of the other way, like, oh, what's this tech company coming in and trying to do in our industry, right?
And especially on the retail residential roofing side, there's so many nuances, right, between insurance versus retail, commercial. There's so many different factors, and there's so many just people things that people don't quite understand. Employees in a roofing company interact with homeowners, and what that path looks like is just very unique. Like when we started with Paradigm, we started at A001 for our client number and ended on D449, I think. So that's 4,449 touch points, right? So it's like you start to get all of that. That's kind of where the foundation for our data and what we did with the bulk buying profiles. There's buying profiles for everybody. And it's like, it's so funny to start to see now that that's slowly starting to become a thing, because I want to use data to adopt and build a model that will truly interact the way that people want to buy. And that's kind of why we say kind of a revolution in e-commerce for service, because that's truly what it is. Like with service companies, you're not just listing your products on Amazon, right? Like what you're selling truly is a service plus the material type, and you have the costs associated with your service and with the material, and then you're selling that as a product. What we're doing now will be the foundation, hopefully, for, people in, my brother's generation and beyond.
You know, one of the things you're just making me think so much about what I think are some cool things, but I have probably offended a few people, and I don't mean to. If you're listening out there, I didn't mean to offend you,
I don't think
but
you couldn't offend
I
anybody.
yeah, just like Vicky said, print is dead. I really believe the kitchen table sell is going to be a
It's on its
dinosaur.
way out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's going. And because it's, everybody's like, well, some people still really like that. Yeah, and that's why you have all kinds of sales, right? Because there are some people who are going to want to be face to face at that kitchen table, but there's all this Gen X who have all these Gen Zs who have taught them that we don't have to do it that way. We can just go online, and we don't want to take that time either. I want to have an interaction online that isn't frustrating, that gets what I want and takes care of it, and I can build that relationship. Um, that's why, first of all, just meeting you two, I was just like, just love you,
Same.
period. And that it's just upfront. But looking at what you're doing for a business, I look at that and I'm like, that is the same as going from print to digital. We are going from the kitchen table to an online experience. And I've been doing that with Roofer's Coffee Shop and things from pretty much my whole career. So of course, when I saw what you were doing, I'm like, yes, you get it. You also have to know as a visionary that you are going to have people like, because I think about Roofer's Coffee Shop, and when we revamped it and relaunched it in 2015, there were a lot of people who just didn't get it
Mm-hmm.
and
Does it make
didn't
you
get what we were
mad?
doing.
Because it
Didn't
makes me mad sometimes. Yeah.
sometimes it's frustrating. I
Yeah.
mean, even today, after the success and all the analytics, and you see everything, people are like, they just and no offense to anyone, but they just want to go and have a 4-color shiny page print ad, and
Right.
I'm kind of like, yeah, one time, done. Okay. What, where's your podcast? Where's your articles?
Correct.
Where's your knowledge? Where's your thought leadership? How does that play in an evergreen arena
Yep.
that is the coffee shops, that really allows people to make change, but also grow the branding education of their products and their business. And there's some people, I have to tell you, I work with some folks that are absolutely, oh my gosh, they are so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And we just build like you guys, right? We build from each other.
Yep.
And then there's other people who just, it's just a year from now, they may come back and go, oh, I got it. And I've had that happen, right? They
Mm-hmm.
just weren't ready. They
Yeah.
weren't ready. And so I can't get too mad or frustrated, because I'm like, if you're not ready, you're not ready.
Right.
Yeah.
But it
And you
doesn't
have
mean
other
we
people to
shouldn't be
move.
doing what we're
Yeah. And
doing.
you have people that want to be doing it. It's like just in
Yeah.
our influencers talk the other day, that was so killer. Like everybody's feedback in that was fantastic. And yeah. And bless Heidi. She's so great at hearing everybody's thoughts and then keeping us all a feral like group of crazy people sharing ideas, and manages to get all of our agenda done in 1 hour. That's was cracking me up. And you're like, great, now we need to, but yeah, I thought that was really
We need
cool.
to move on.
We're going to be linking all of Heidi's information. Alex, we'll talk about, and we're going to do a part 2 on this too, because we want to definitely
Yeah.
do some stuff about our club and webinar series, and really go over all the amazing ways that people can come in and join a community, that every person that is joining is strengthening the total value as a whole, right? Like you're not just coming in and paying for a service, you're actually joining like a vetted group of amazing people in the industry that all contribute.
Thought leaders.
Yeah, that's the best way to say it. They're thought leaders. So I can't even believe, Heidi, since we've been doing the r/roofing sales subreddit, is went from like 2,100 to 3,400 in the last X amount of months. So I mean, it's wild to see that
Josh,
growth.
you need to
And
get me on Reddit.
yeah,
I'm
we
not
need
on
to
Reddit
do
yet.
Reddit,
I need
because
to.
you would kill it at Reddit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And
I need. Okay, I'm going to get with you on
yeah,
that.
It's
we
so
will.
funny.
That'll be my 2025 goal. Get on Reddit.
There's tons of people that have lots of questions, just like with the influencer group. They all kind of echo each other, right? Like we're all somewhere caught in a transition in life, whether it's in our business, personal, where we want to go, what we want to do. So, I mean, that's kind of reflected a lot in Reddit the same way it is everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love LinkedIn, but I'd love to get into Reddit and see.
You're
how
much
that's
more of a
going. I know
Reddit
it makes
gal
me
than a
sound
LinkedIn
old.
gal.
I
Okay.
can see that.
Good. I'm going to try it.
Yeah, have everybody definitely check out Roofer's Coffee Shop. We're going to have all of Heidi's links down below in the description box. Give us a like on this video and definitely follow RCS on socials.
Yeah, just put in Roofer's Coffee Shop and you're going to find us. I really recommend following us on YouTube. We do a weekly blend video that we talk about what's going on in the industry every week. It's either Karen and I, or Megan and Karen, or Megan and I. And it really, and we have some of, our coffee conversations, second and fourth Thursday of every month are, you're going to find out everything you want to about the industry and about technology. So for everybody out there who's not in roofing and who's in technology, I would love your thoughts on what we're doing with Roofers Coffee Shop, because
That's a great
we really
point,
believe
Heidi.
that, yeah, the coffee shops is a model that could go anywhere. So, hey, Josh, Cole, thank you so much for having me today. This has just been such an honor and so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi, so much. Tell Tim hi and look forward to talking with you soon.
Thanks, Heidi. Nice talking and seeing you
Okay, thank
again.
you, everybody.
Okay,
Have a great day.
Bye.
Make sure to check out rooferscoffeeshop.com. It's where the industries meet.